It was only astonishingly quick, and then he placed himself close to the window and waited patiently, with his eyes fixed upon the chair, to see what would happen next. In the space of about a quarter of a minute, there came from the next room a sound like the rapid drawing of a heavy bolt, and then in an instant the shaving chair disappeared beneath the floor, and the circumstances by which Sweeney Todd's customers disappeared was evident. There was a piece of the floor turning upon a center, and the weight of the chair, when a bolt was withdrawn by means of a simple leverage from the inner room, weighed down upon one end of the top, which, by a little apparatus, was to swing completely around, there being another chair on the under surface, which thus became the upper, exactly resembling the one in which the unhappy customer was supposed to be polished off. Hence was it that in one moment, as if by magic, Sweeney Todd's visitors disappeared, and there was the empty chair. No doubt he trusted to a fall of about 20 feet below, onto a stone floor, to be the death of them, or at all events to stun them until he could go down to finish the murder, and to cut them up for Mrs. Lovett's pies, after robbing them of all money and valuables they might have about them. In another moment the sound as of a bolt was heard again, and Sir Richard Blunt, who had played the part of the wealthy farmer, feeling that the trap was closed again, seated himself in the new chair that had made its appearance with all the nonchalance in life, as if nothing had happened. It was a full minute before Todd ventured to look from the parlor into the darkened shop, and then he shook so that he had to hold the door to steady himself. "That's done," he said. "That's the last, I hope. It is time I finished. I never felt so nervous since the first time. Then I did quake a little. How quiet he went! I have sometimes had a shriek ringing in my ears for a whole week." It was a large, high-backed piece of furniture, that shaving chair, so that, when Todd crept into the shop with the light in his hand, he had not the slightest idea it was tenanted. But when he got around it, and saw his customer calmly waiting with the lather upon his face, the cry of horror that came gargling and gushing from his throat was horrible to hear. "Why, what's the matter?" said Sir Richard. "Oh God, the dead, the dead, oh God!" cried Todd. "This is the beginning of my punishment. Have mercy, Heaven! Oh, do not look upon me with those dead eyes!" "Murderer!" shouted Sir Richard, in a voice that rang like the blast of a trumpet through the house. In an instant he sprang upon Sweeney Todd, and grappled him by the throat. There was a short struggle, and they were down upon the floor together, but Todd's wrists were suddenly laid hold of, and a pair of handcuffs were scientifically put upon him by the officers, who, at the word "murderer," that being a preconcerted signal, came from the cupboard where they had been concealed. "Secure him well, my men," said the magistrate, "and don't let him lay violent hands upon himself. Ah, Miss Oakley, you are in time. This man is a murderer. I found out all the secret about the chair last night, after 12, by exploring the vaults under the old church. Thank God, we have stopped his career." End of chapter 38.